In this question, we are asked how to convert 62 inches to feet. So our conversion factor is 1 foot is equals to 12 inches. And we have inches that we need to turn into feet. So we have 62 inches times 1 feet over 12 inches. Inches cancels out. And 62 divided by 12 in the calculator divided by 12 is 5.16. So 0.16 feet is our final answer. Our next question is fraction, so it's addition of fractions. 13. Evaluate seven over 8 plus 8 over 7. So when it says evaluate, it basically just means solve the whole question. So we're given 7 over 8 plus 8 over 7. When you're adding fractions, you have to make sure that the denominator is the same, and in order to do that, you can multiply it to make it the same. So we're going to multiply 8 into a different color so you guys can see. 8 times 7. So we're going to think of a common factor between 8 and 7, so both the denominators, which is 56. So we're going to multiply 8 by 7 because 8 by 7 is 56. And since we're multiplying the denominator by 7, we have to multiply the numerator by 7. And same with the other case, in order to make 56, we have to multiply 7 by 8. So whatever you do to the numerator, you have to do to the denominator. This results in 49 over 56 plus 8 times 8 is 64. 64 over 56. This can also be written as the following: 49 plus 64 over 56. Because they are the same denominators, they can be in under one fraction, I guess that makes sense. You can come up. And this would result in 49 plus 64 is 113 over 56. This is an answer, however, it is in improper form. The best thing to do is to turn it into mixed form, and to do that we can use, I guess, wrong version. So we can think of 56 how many times can 56 go into 113? So 56 times 1 is 56. 56 times 2 is 112. And if we go 56 times 3, it will exceed 113. So we can't go to times 3. So this is going to result in 2. And so our remainder would be 113. So we're going to take the numerator and minus with this number. So 112. We're left with 1. So our numerator would be 1. Over the denominator always remains the same, would be 56. Another way to confirm this is what you do is you take your whole number, so 1/56, and you multiply it by the whole number, 56. You take your denominator multiplied by the mixed number, and then you add the numerator to it. So 56 times 2 is 112, plus 1 is 113 over 56. So it's the same thing. So this is our final answer. This question asks us how to simplify ln 1 over 2. So 2. How do you simplify ln 1 over 2? So we all know by the based off logarithmic that ln 1 is 0. Because any number raised to the power of 0 is 1. Okay. So it could be like 100 raised to the power of 0 is 1. 2 raised to the power of 0 is 1. Any number raised to the power of 0 is 1. So that's why ln 1 is equals to 0. I should have written this in blue. So we know that the top part is equals to 0 because we basically solved for that. And the bottom part is just 2. So basically this says 0 over 2. And we know when 0 is in the numerator divided by any number in the denominator, the answer is always 0. So ln 1 over 2 is equals to 0. Is our final answer. So our next question is, how do you simplify root of 225? So how to do 5 square root of 225. I'll write the question. You can put this in your calculator, however, it does ask us to solve or simplify. So what we can do is when we're given large numbers, we can simplify it into smaller numbers. So we can think of the multiples of the number that we're given. What makes up 225? What numbers, when they're being multiplied, makes up 225? So one number that we can think of, so that is equals to 45. Or actually, we'll start off with 5 because that's the most obvious answer. Because that is the most obvious answer. So when we divide 225 by 5, we get 45. So 5 times 45, that is the same thing as square root of 225. So what can we divide more? We can't simplify 5 more into anything, so we'll move on to the next one, which is 45. We can simplify that into 9 and 5, correct? So then we are left with 5 to the 9 times 5. Now, what we can do is simplify it further, but we have to simplify the whole root, which means we have to figure out what the actual answer is after we square root the number. So now we need to think of numbers that make 225 that when we square can be like a perfect square, and it will end up in a messy decimal. So one thing that I can think of is 9. Definitely, when you square 9, we get 3. So we can leave that onto one side. We can take that out of the bracket and put it like this. That square root of 9 times the square root of 5 times 5 is the same as the square root of 225. Keep that in mind. So this can be simplified into 3. So this can be simplified into 3 with 5 times 5. Now, is it better if we take the square root of 5? Is it better if we take the square root of 5 separately and then end up with 2 decimals and then multiply? Or is it better if we can multiply 5 times 5 and that ends up with 25, and when you square 25, it's a perfect answer, which is 5. So that's what we're going to do. It's 325. So here, this is 5. And then we can multiply that out into 15. 3 times 5 is 15. So that is our final answer. We can also write this as the square root of 225 is equals to 115 as our final answer. That is that. Those are all the questions that we have for today. If you guys want to send in your own questions or want any homework or tutoring help, make sure to check out the link in the description below. This was Shanae from OneClass, and hope to see you guys next time.